Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, and today we are playing a discard Mayhem deck. Mayhem is a new mechanic introducing through the Omenpath slash Spider-Man, and it is a mechanic I'd say primarily associated with villains, even though not all of them. We do have some heroes with Mayhem like Kivney Orbweaver, and what Mayhem does, it's an alternative casting cost that if you discard a card of Mayhem, you can cast it for its Mayhem cost from the graveyard. And generally the Mayhem cost is cheaper, even though not always. We do have an example of that, and I'll get to that in a second. So it's very similar to Madness, which is an old mechanic that predates Arena, so we haven't got many Madness cards in Arena, but Madness lets you cast it, I think, at any time. So if you discard a card in your opponent's turn, and you discard a card of Madness, you can cast it for the Madness cost turn. And then Mayhem timing will still apply, so you can only cast a creature during your turn. So let's quickly go through some of the old cards and we'll get to the new card. So Monument to Endurance is obviously such a powerful discard card. 3 mana artifact. When you discard a card, you choose one that has been chosen this turn. Either draw a card, create a treasure token, and each opponent loses 3 life. It really feels like this should have been legendary, but it's not. You get 2 or 3 down and you're just going to be, draining your opponent for 3, 6, 9 a turn, drawing 3 cards and creating 3 treasures. 2 copies of Marauding Maker. Originally had 4 copies, but I've taken out for another new card, which I'll get to in a second. 1 mana, 1/1. When you discard 1 or more cards, put that many +1/+1 counters on this creature, and you can cycle it for 2. And then Glacial Dragon Hunt. 2 mana sorcery. Draw a card, then we may discard a card. If we discard a non-land card this way, it deals 3 damage to a target creature, and then we can harmonise it for 6, means we can cast for the graveyard, and we can tap a creature to reduce its generic cost by X, where X that creature's power, and then 3 copies of Broadside Barrage, very similar to the Dragon Hunt. 3 mana instant, deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, draw a card, then discard a card. And I think that's all the old cards, apart from some lands. But let's go on to the new ones. Let's go on to the Mayhem cards. So at the top of our curve is a Desecrex, a Gift of Servitude, a 4 mana 4/3 with Trample. When it enters, return target creature card mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains. This creature attacks each combat if able, and when this creature deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it, but we can Mayhem for 2 black and a red. So, sorry, just for a black and a red, so 2. So being able to potentially get this down on turn 2, which is very doable, 4/3 on turn 2, plus getting a card back from our graveyard is just a bit bonkers. Then we have Ruzik, booed but victorious. I don't know why, the name just makes me laugh. The idea that he wins, but no one likes him and he boos. He is a goblin villain. I think this is probably Green Goblin or Hobgoblin from in the Spider-Man set. A 3 mana 5/4. That is insane stats. Beginning of your upkeep, discard a card, then create a treasure token. So obviously this triggers Mayhem as well, and it makes it easier to cast it because we get to create a treasure as well, and we can Mayhem it for 3. So the Mayhem cost is the same. It's just 1 more generic and 1 less coloured. So it doesn't really make a difference at all. But getting out a 5/4 is just insane. Then we have Kivney Orbweaver, a 2 mana 2/1, which we can Mayhem for 1 and has menace. And when it enters, we may discard a card. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Kivney. So this is really good. If we can discard him, cast him for 1, discard another card, cast that card. So, and obviously if we've got Monument to Endurance down, we've probably triggered it twice. We can create a treasure, which makes it easier to cast whatever we've discarded with Kivney. It then comes down as a 3/2 with Menace. It's just absolutely bonkers. And then we have Goban, Gene Slicer. Itself does not have Mayhem, but it is a 2 mana 1/1. It can't be blocked, and when it does combat damage to a player, it connives, meaning we can discard a card. So we draw a card, then discard a card. If we discard a non-land card, we put a +1/+1 counter on him. And obviously, because he can't be blocked, he's going to get pretty big. And then we can transform him for 1 plus Grixis, so blue, black, and red, to transform Goban, activate as a sorcery. Or we can just cast his backside for that cost anyway, and he is Fleam, Goban's creation. Not really a transformation then, is it? In my opinion, but never mind. 3 mana, flying, menace. Spells you cast from your graveyard cost 2 less to cast, and each non-land card in our graveyard has Mayhem. The Mayhem cost is equal to its mana cost. So that's pretty cool as well, but we're more likely just to play Goban for Goban and getting that connive and growing him big. Then we have Uharis, the Storm Spinner. Again, not a Mayhem card, but a 2-mana 2/3 double strike vigilance, but we can't cast him during our first, second or third turns, which is a bit of a shame because by turn 4 a 2-mana 2/3 double strike vigilance isn't as good. But it says at the beginning of our end step, if we've played a land or cast a spell this turn from anywhere other than hand, such as our graveyard, Uharis deals damage equal to its power to any target, so it's going to deal 2 to something. But because of Desecrex, if we get Uharis into the graveyard, we can bring it back with Desecrex ahead of schedule. Yes, it does have to attack each turn, but is a double strike vigilance, so it can probably get in for some damage, and it's very hard to kill, although if it does common damage to a player, we do have to sacrifice it. But it's something to get back. That's why we only have one copy of it as well, but we are playing lots of cards from our graveyard, so it is going to do damage all game long. And then rounding out the Mayhem cards, we have one copy of Deathflame Burst. We have a lot of removal. This is another removal. A 3-mana sorcery deals 4 damage to target creature. We can Mayhem it for 2. And then Miasmic Mist. One of the, I think maybe the only Mayhem card that actually the Mayhem cost is more expensive than its regular cost. 3 mana. Sorcery, all creatures get -2 to -2 to the end of turn. However, if we Mayhem it for 4, it only affects our opponent. So it can be actually one-sided board wipe or one-sided, board reduction if we cast it for Mayhem's cost, which is more expensive than normal. And then 2 of the cards that really bring this deck together, Skitter and Kitten. This is a card originally I had 2 copies in and 4 copies in the Mako, but I swapped around. 1 mana, 1/1 with haste. That's always just a decent card. You can get him for 1 on your first turn. And it is common as well, so it's really cheap. But then we can discard a card, sack this creature, draw a card. Ways to trigger Mayhem is really, really powerful, and it draws a card as well. So kind of like the nut draw is turn 1, Skittering Kitten, we're attacking for 1. Turn 2, we're attacking for 1. We sack it, we discard a Desecrex, we draw a card. We can then cast Desecrex for its Mayhem cost for 2. We get a 4/3 trample on turn 2. And then we get back the Skittering Kitten that, yes, it has to attack every turn, and we sacrifice it when it does combat damage, but we can then use it next turn to trigger Mayhem again as well. And then the other one is Quint's Insight, a 2-mana enchantment. Beginning of your main phase, discard a card. That's not a May. If we do, draw a card. And whenever we play a land or cast a spell from anywhere other than a hand, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. This is great because while it's not a May, it is we draw as well. And one of the reasons why I really like this deck, and this is actually, I think, one of the most powerful decks I've played in a while, it absolutely slaps, is it gets around the discard style deck issues of you run out of cards. Monument to Endurance always help with that, but the fact that we can draw cards with Quint's Insight and Monument to Endurance and Glacial Dragon Hunt and Broadside Barrage and loads of other things as well, it means we very rarely run out of cards, and we're discarding cards to get value from them. And Quint Insights obviously deals 1 to our opponent each time we do as well. And because it's on our first main phase, yes, we will lose what we draw. If we're empty-handed, we draw a card and then we discard it and draw another card. But chances are we're going to get value from that card in our graveyard. So really, really powerful. Mana base, we do have 3 copies of another new card, Exclusive Nightclub, which itself has Mayhem. It taps a Grixis, so blue, green, blue, black or red. It does enter tapped, and if it land enters from a graveyard, we do lose 2 life. It's not ramp, it is just a land drop, but if we don't mind having a tap land come into play and we haven't got any other thing, we can discard it and then just put it into play. Yes, we lose 2 life. We are playing Multiversal Passage. I think this is going to be in every deck. It's so powerful. And then Riverpire Verge, 3 copies of Watery Grave, and then 3 Swamps and 7 Mountains. So this deck absolutely slaps. Really, really like it. You very rarely run out of cards, and because of all the removal, and we do have a lot of removal, we've got 6 targeted removal spells, and then 2 sweepers, and then some big creatures as well. We're not worried about aggro decks. And with Monument Endurance, you can just get that card draw and get those pinging 3 life. It really does well into the long game. So really, really fun deck. One of the most fun I've had in a while, and definitely going to carry on trying out. And there is, just the more of the discard deck as opposed to Mayhem deck, I'll play at some point as well. So I really hope you enjoy it. I really, really like playing this deck. If you do, please remember to leave a like and subscribe. I'll give a shout out to my patrons, Arcadius, Mihal, Thomas and Adrian. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you everyone else for your support, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. Our opponent goes first. Ooh. I think we put the passage on. Ooh, Skidder and Kitten. Candy Trail. I don't think we sack the kitten. We'll just play out an exclusive nightclub. Can't cast that yet. There is a stick. We can't play it, but I'm fine with just getting card draw. Well, let's play out Quince. I mean, they definitely have more removal, don't they? Let's put this on. Technically, we have everything we need. I'm not going to cast out Haris because it's just going to get removed. But let's put it on black. You can enter tapped. Solemn Simulacrum. They do get to draw a card, which is unfortunate. Let's pitch that. Because we can cast it later on. Let's pitch get another Quince. And a Goban. Yeah. See that coming a mile off. We need some of our bigger creatures. I think to our 2 Quince we pitch Haris and Miasmic Mist. Well, there's another Goban. Let's draw. Let's create a treasure. They do get a draw. We'll get down another Goban. They have more removal, I'm sure they do. Yep. Let's pitch a mountain. We'll draw and pitch a Dragon Hunt. And let's start pinging our opponent. When we actually hit stuff we want, we'll be in business. Put your mountain. Draw. Draw. Pitch you. Ping. Ping. Get down a Ruzik. Ping him for 2 more. Get down a Kitten. And yeah, let's get down another Quince. Yeah, that's fine. And they are going drawing. Swing him. To be fair, I'm not that fussed about removal. Chuck a barrage. Should have put away a Ruzik. Because that way we would have pinged him for 2 more. But we ping him for 3. Discard a barrage. But they need... Ooh, that's... You don't see Chillmore very often. It's a very powerful card, but it's not going to do it. Because we're about to do 6 of their face with Monument. And yeah, we we don't draw from that, but then we deal 6 just that just wins. But then we can we then discard the miss and everything else we draw to create treasures, draw cards. Yeah, we've run out going face, but we've won. We go first. Well, we can turn 1 Mako. Can't turn to the Storm Spinner. But if we can get it back with Desecrax, that would be pretty good. We do need some other ways to discard things. Well, what? If we put this on... I suppose we probably need this on black, really. And then we get down Quince. And then we probably discard Uharis with Quince. Do need a 3rd land. Which we don't draw. But then next turn we can Desecrax with Mayhem, get back Uharis. But obviously would like that third land. Opponent has to discard. Well, let's get down Decklist because we can get back Uharis. Hit him for 3. And yeah, we can do 2 with Uharis. He does have to attack every turn, but it is a 2/3 double striker. And we've actually got lethal on board. Yeah. I'm not surprised. That's to a creature. Well, let's get down. Picture Ruzik. Hit him down to 6. Yeah, a 5/4 for 3, which you can cast for 3 with Mayhem. That is a strong card. We go first with an alright hand. "24 lands when we only start with 2. What we can do next turn, play the passage on Swamp. On black. Then we attack in. And then we discard. Play out Decklist. Get back the kitten. I have a Gremlin Tamer. So the kitten can't really attack, but yeah, a turn 2 4/3 is pretty good. We go first. We have lots of lands this time. No 1-drop though, but that's fine. Let us play this on blue. I think we can enter tapped. Turn 2, we can get Goban down, which I imagine gets killed straight away. Or at least then. Well, in that case, we will just get down a monument. Clandestine work. Wow, we are flooding out. We'll discard Ruzik. We will create a treasure. We will cast Ruzik. Not a bad turn. Ooh, they are white as well. Ketramos. Let's chuck a Multiversal Passage. Straw card. Planet of Water Grave. I imagine they have, yeah. But, well. How much more removal do they have? We don't have anything to discard with Quinn's Insight. They're up to 9, down to 8. We have to draw. They're down to 6. We're down to 18. But if they turn on Ketramos, we are in trouble. But otherwise, technically we have lethal. Obviously, Ultimate exiles Ketramos as well. Do you have a way to gain life at instant speed? They do not. Monument Endurance, putting in the work there. We go first. Well, we can do the turn 1 kitten, turn 2 Desecrex. Assuming the kitten survives. Would like more lands though. Our kitten is going to survive. Pay 2. Discard Desecrex. No blooming lands. If we draw a land, we most likely sacrifice the Skitter and Kitten to discard Ruzik. Otherwise, we probably Mako and maybe sack the Kitten to grow the Mako. Obviously, it does have to attack. Swift for boots. Well, I'm going to do this now just because I don't trust the game to hold priority. Chuck you. Come on, game. Let's discard Mako. Hit him for 4. Obviously, the issue is if I get down something and put the boots on it straight away, it will have hexproof. Well, let's just get down the insight then. Do they have another split up? Well, at least we can get some value from Ruzik. I imagine they take out Ruzik. Oh. Well, that's an issue. Let's discard a Ruzik. Let's discard Barrage. Let's Fleam. Yeah, I am. This is just a deal one, basically. I'll keep the new one. That is very annoying. That is going to be our first loss. Let's pitch that. We don't have a way, unfortunately, to... Oh, yeah, because they're chosen by Valgavoth. Yeah, our first loss.